when this dropped, people were hating. People were hating when this dropped, but I was like, nah, he's cooking, bro. It's just not, I don't buy it. I just don't buy it. All empathy is removed. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not. It's too well cast. It's too well cast. The depth of affect. This person's definitely just like a Twitter leftist. All right, we got the first one. Holy holy shit. That made me fucking that made me goofy scream just then. Oh my god. Oh my god. 12K followers? Okay. Civil War and so many contemporary Hollywood releases aren't just films concerned with a story. They aspire to be about themselves. What the fuck does that mean? What the fuck do you mean? About the mechanics and optics of cinematic storytelling. Are you saying Alex Garland made this film about himself? Or are you saying Alex Garland crafted a personal style in his filmmaking? About the mechanics and optics of cinematic storytelling. In their view, it's too simple to be a film only about the internal collapse of America. Yet, depicting this apparent simplicity would require taking a stance to bifurcate that apocalypse into cause and effect, good and evil. And Alex Garland's A24 approved conceptualist bent makes him above making such petty choices naturally. Why make those decisions as an artist when you can instead step outside the frame and metatextually depict drama conflict from the safe neutrality of journalistic documentation? Bro, we gotta come to grips with the fact some people just don't give a fuck. Some people don't give a fuck. They just don't give a fuck. Yeah, this British motherfucker doesn't give a fuck about American Civil War. He doesn't give a shit. He's just gonna go and make a movie and then tell people to vote because he's a lib. Yeah, he doesn't give a fuck. He wants to make movies. You think he's interested in revolutionary politics? He wants to make movies for a living, goddammit. Anyhow, the camera, aloof and pure, just sees what it sees. It can't lie. Are we really so naive to believe that in 2024? In the age of deepfakes and AI? In the age of every major American news outlet deliberately using passive voice when talking about Palestinian children and hospital patients being murdered by Israeli snipers? Cinema canon must excel beyond such low standards. It's not enough to just... Here, this sounds like big thesis here. It's not enough to just sit back and film. That's the theme of the film. You... I want you to know something, okay? That's the goddamn shit fucking theme of the fucking movie, pal. That's the theme of the goddamn motherfucking dog shit ass motherfucking movie, pal. Holy mother of cock. Not enough to default to previous styles or references because every eye is a biased one. So why not embrace your own perspective if you inherently cannot run from it? This is paragraphs. Holy shit. Oh my god. Because that requires sticking your pristine artisanal hands in the muck of politics. The way that centrist liberals in America valorize the media class is because the fourth estate are parasitical replicators of the ideological apparatus. They always end up repeating the party line, and when you're a country with a two-party system, that might as well be a single person's code switching. Everyone gets the news they want, and journalists get a pass because they're just stating the facts. As if we're all still 19th century positivists. Logician cave dwellers who don't believe in anything except the most naive physical materialism. Man, I am... lost. I'll tell you what, though. There's a part in the movie where they shoot a rocket at the Supreme Court. That was sick. If you want to go see a movie where they do that shit, I'd go see that. I don't want you to be a logician cave dweller, but if you want to see someone shoot a fucking rocket at the Supreme Court building or whatever that is, I'd still go see this movie because that shit's cool. That shit is epic. The Lumiere brothers. Oh my God. We went all the way back to 1897. The Lumiere brothers were more politically interesting filmmakers than Alex Garland is. I guess. What did the Lumiere brothers do? Did they go trip to the moon? I know they did, obviously, they invented film, basically, but I know they did the train and all these things. The Workers Leaving the Factory, of course. Workers Leaving the Factory, goated movie, guys. Yo, you guys seen Workers Leaving the Factory? Goated picture. Goated picture. Look at this. Goated picture. 1895. See, when this dropped, people were hating. People were hating when this dropped, but I was like, nah, he's cooking, bro. The workers have to leave. Everyone was like, why didn't he film the workers arriving at the factory? It's like, some of them might be early. Leaving is when they're all leaving. It's more cinematic. And Lumiere was like, yeah, bro. Exactly. See, you get it. But anyhow, this is like a mind trip reading this. If you are pointing your camera at workers leaving their factory job and those workers look straight into the camera's lens, that's a statement. That's politics. That's recognition. Something to talk about. Garland makes the Second American Civil War into some PlayerUnknown's Battlegrounds levels, except that you're in no-clip mode and are just passively watching a bunch of dudes pop around corners while your own custom Spotify playlist gives you an ironic removal from anything that might be gained from this experience. After all, it's not real, right? Maybe that flies fine in casual multiplayer gaming. Bro, where are we? Where are we? I don't know the point being made at all. I can't tell, bruh. I don't know what the fuck you're saying. Civil War is tight. Gaming is tight. Like, what are you, what? But you're usually supposed to feel something in a film. Oh, we're already beyond that. We're like Alex Garland. We're ironically staging violence. Don't worry about it. The actors are just NPCs. All empathy is drained and the image is bloodlessly anesthetized via music video montages and shallow-focused voyeurism. It's crazy how much someone can say and still not make their point. I don't know what the fuck your I think you're mad at, like, was cool. Like, you're mad that, like, I mean, like, yeah, I'll say, like, the needle, like, when they're, at the college in the gunfight, and then they're, like, killing the prisoners of war, and then there's a needle drop. I was like, yeah, this is kind of, like, borderline cringy with the, I probably wouldn't have, like, probably would have used a different song, or, I don't know, it just, I was just kind of like, that was basically it. Like, trust me, I'm ready to tell somebody when some shit is, like, unbelievably, unwatchably cringe because they think what they're making is, like, so sick. But, like, that moment, it was just like, all right, we just need to transition to the next scene here. Let's get the music supervisor, coordinator, whatever the fuck, the person who chooses the soundtrack supervisor. All right, what film? Oh, I got this, like, kind of, like, upbeat song from this time. It's like not a, you know, okay, works for me. Yeah, it's gonna be pretty, like, bizarre to watch people getting shot by a machine gun in the back of a truck on the ground in slow motion while, you know, this song's playing. Okay, cool. Just need to transition to another, you know, it's like, that works. You know, it worked for me. It was like, all right, fine. Like, I was kind of like, you're doing the whole needle Kubrickian ironic needle drop. That I was like, but it wasn't, at least it was not a song I recognized. If it was like a fucking hit song, I would have really cringed, but luckily it was not. It was just some kind of weird track that they added. I probably wouldn't have done that. I think that's a little old hat in my opinion, stylistically, but I wasn't, like, offended by it. You know what I'm saying? But apparently that drains all the empathy out of the attractive professional actors that are giving us performances this whole movie. Apparently the performances are completely null and void because a song was used. It's just not, I don't buy it. I just don't buy it. All empathy is removed. No, it's not. No, it's not. It's not. It's too well cast. It's too well cast. Like, you can't drain empathy out of Kirsten Dunst, who it already has this ability to be like very internal and low and have this tired energy, but still give a fucking performance that you empathize with. And I'm sorry, the script is just too well structured. It's a good movie. It's a hit movie. It's like #1 movie in America right now. Politically, all valid politically. You know what I'm saying? But as a picture, as cinema, I'm recommending it. I'm sorry. By the way, like, when a film is popular and I don't like it and I don't recommend it, the times when a film is a good picture, but I just don't care for it, I don't sit here and deny that it's like a good movie. You know, like my dad, for example, will like movies that amongst my snobbiest of friends, maybe they're like, that director's a hack, you know, that movie's overrated. But I still, you know, like I'll give you one, right? This is even, I think a lot of people think this is a good movie. I think it's a good movie. I think it's a good movie. I don't love the director and I don't think it's phenomenal, but like The Revenant, for example. You know, I guess it's technically phenomenal, absolutely. But as a movie, it can get a little kind of like, all right, we're doing the wide shot for the millionth time here. You know, it's just kind of like there's not as there. It could be a little bit leaner. I think it'd be a little bit leaner, but maybe that's my only critique. I'd have to go back and watch. But like my dad thought The Revenant was, and I got to see it in theaters. He thought it was the most incredible in theater experience of his life. Right, seeing The Revenant. And I got to see it, where I would probably say, you know, an equivalent for me would be like The Cranes Are Flying or like Tarkovsky's Nostalgia or some other film. You know what I mean? That would be like my craziest whatever. But I still wouldn't get in the way of other people saying that that's a good picture, that that's a good film. You know, like another movie that I thought was good, but I kind of like, I kind of cringed at was Birdman. Or what, is that what it was called? Yeah, Birdman, right? Oh, wow. Long take gimmick, you know? But hey, as a movie, it's captivating. It's interesting. And so I say all that to say, this is an example where I think it's a good movie and I think it's valid for people to enjoy it and like it. But I can understand somebody, you know, maybe not liking the director. But I think it's important to say, you know, I wouldn't not recommend this to somebody, even if I felt that way. Like, I would recommend Birdman and The Revenant to people. You know what I'm saying? Like, I would recommend it. So, anyways. But wait, you may say, that's what Alex Garland's trying to say. How modern America is desensitized by the media. Okay, sure. But then why does he choose to explicitly depoliticize his subject matter? I don't understand. Make up your mind. Is the camera biased or not? Can you depoliticize it or not? Like, I'm confused. But then why does he choose to explicitly depoliticize his subject matter? He's just saying it's not political. That doesn't mean it is. A right-winger would see that movie and be like, this beautiful country's never going to have a civil war. You know, it's like, why does he insist that this is an apolitical film when Andy Ngo is thanked in the credits? What? That is so random. My boy Alex, I don't know what you're gonna have to explain that one to me. I don't know why you did that. I mean, that's just lib airhead bullshit. That's why he did that. I don't know why he did that. They talked to. I was speaking to both sides, not to polarize. We don't want to polarize. That's him in the interview. We don't want to polarize. You know what I mean? The last thing you want to do when you're faced with fascism, right, is to put out a polarizing message and make people further polarized. You don't want to do that. That's how he's been talking about this movie. And I've just been fucking just like, yeah, whatever, jerk off. Let's see. Where was I? It's just walls of text. Sorry, y'all. You'd think that a film about desensitization would want to, I don't know, resensitize you. But what we get here is just a reflection of post-Trump liberalism that's deathly afraid of their hegemony being challenged by both the radical right and the radical left. Oh, won't those heroic journalists come save us from collapses with their reasoned facts and neutrality? Give me a fucking break. And of course they don't. But the film revels in that failure. Oh, how they tried. And wasn't it nice? But the fall of America is inevitable, so let's secure ourselves for these incoming years of lead? For these incoming years of lead. It's the nihilist core of capital, the death of affect, the death of affect. This person is definitely just like a Twitter leftist. The media class as the opportunistic cynics who don't care one iota if a nuclear bomb is dropped as long as they get first dibs reporting on the explosion. The film maneuvers itself into a classic centrist position. This is bad, but it's also systematically unavoidable, so get used to it, kiddo. Welcome to the future of no future. I don't think that's really what it says. I don't think it just says we're fucked. You know, if anything, I think like not to spoil the movie, but I think there's a sort of generational arc that happens in the story and the characters where the younger photographer kind of like understands that it's important to like also be a human being and live your life and, you know, wear the dress and do all this, you know, like be a human. Don't just be an unfeeling piece of shit. I think the younger photographer understands that because in the end that her empathy is what, I mean, man, Kirsten Dunst's empathy is her fate. You know what I mean? It's like, man, y'all just, it's a movie, man. It's a fucking movie. That's kind of the understanding. It's like, we shouldn't just lose all sensitivity. And I think though it is a lib point, I'm sure Alex Garland comes to this from the fact that it's like, the more we remove our humanity from what's in front of us, the easier it is to stop seeing each other as human and thus spur ourselves towards violence. But I understand the critiques. I understand that, like, you may also be feeling like it's not, I mean, because I basically agree with that. It's like, Alex Garland, you're saying we shouldn't politicize them, or polarize them. The violence that they commit on us financially and physically is the polarizing element, not the rhetoric. You know, the rhetoric's always a reaction to the material, to what's going on. What's the social temperature? Like, that's always what the rhetoric is. I will say that the internet's certainly fucking not helping this at all. It's not helping people talk to each other, period. Anyhow. And Civil War emphasizes the civility of its premise too much to even provide the dumb guy excitement that a story like this naturally leans into. Compare this mannered spectacle to the toyetic Reaganism of Invasion USA or even the guerrilla campaign in Red Dawn, and the gentrification of genre cinema will become immediately clear. See, This is a gentrification of genre cinema. Wow. Hollywood was once able to deliver adequately and consistently on a sort of lizard brain fantasy generated by reactionary Schadenfreude. The only time my audience reacted to this film was during the Jesse Plemons scene, and they were sadistically cheering on his murderousness and laughing at the weakness of the journalist's main characters. My audience was so quiet you could hear a pin drop when that scene was happening. If there was an intended theme, it sailed right over these Midwestern goobers. Their appetite for violence remains undaunted, and I suspect most audience members will. It is almost basically that, another disposable thriller that asks about the same amount of questions that a science fiction, like little disposable pulp novel would ask. You know what I'm saying? It's a movie. If the audience doesn't get the perspective of no perspective, and if the director doesn't care about commenting on the potential potency of his own script, much less creating any thoughts with his images. I mean, when I saw Washington, D.C., literally, you know, that was thought-provoking. Watching a bunch of journalists be held at gunpoint by basically the equivalent of the I forget the name of the troops, the Nazis that were in Come and See, who just basically go around the countryside acting like barbarians. The fact that that imagery is very real in my head. The imagery of driving around America and there's just wreckage and war and snipers and shit. It's pretty good imagery. Creating any thoughts with his thoughts were created in my mind, but hey. Or to even generate a single emotion. What was the point in making this in the first place? Given Garland's stated plans for retirement, you wonder if he's asked himself the same question. Once and for all, you cannot make apolitical cinema. It does not exist. Humans and art do not exist in a vacuum. So you're better off leaning into it. Take a stand, ruffle some feathers, do something, anything, at least try. And failing that, at least have some fun. If not, you're wasting our time. So, all of that just to say, and hey, if you got to make an apolitical movie because it costs millions of dollars and A24 is producing it and it's blah, 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 and you're a lib, at least have some fun. Okay, well, you can delete this review because that's the whole point of the movie, is it's a thrilling movie. You go, hey, Wouldn't it be fun to go see Civil War? Sounds fun. You go see it and you go, it's fun. Because it's a movie. Entertainment. You know what I mean? The motherfucker's not a goddamn leftist. Sorry. Most directors, let me really shock you. Most motherfucking directors are not leftists. And if they are, it doesn't fucking matter because they're in a giant fucking expensive capitalistic for-profit business. I'm sorry to break this to you. An all-consuming void of intelligence, cinematic craft, and everything that is good in the world. A film with no discernible perspective on anything. So relentlessly unwilling to confront any of the assumptions that undergird its flimsy premise. Barreling through locations and set pieces that only get staler. Overextended, ironic. We love ironic, folks. Needle drops and moments of inane dialogue padding out the runtime. War never looks so fucking dull. Every shot looks like it has the zoom background blur on. No one gives a good performance because they simply can't with direction like this. Not even a dumpster fire. Just the trash bin itself. Seen at AMC Square 13 in New York City in IMAX. Oh, Evelyn Wu, shout out to you. See, I like that review better because it was kind of more just like, yeah, get to the point. I would say that its perspective is that basically dehumanization is what causes desperation, dehumanization, basically. I'd say that's basically what causes destabilization, is a culture that lacks like caring about the human being. Kind of is what it feels like. Because it's a buddy movie. They're all, all these characters are buddies with each other. They have all these little moments. There is like this, it's important. This is all we kind of have kind of vibe. Sort of a Last of Us, if you will. Cinematic craft, hate to say it, they cooked from a cinematic tech. Very well edited. It's well shot. Yeah, there's some stylistic choices you could disagree with, totally fair. Everything that's good in the world. Unwilling to confront any of the assumptions that undergird its flimsy premise. I don't really understand that. Maybe I'm just not smart enough. So relentlessly unwilling to confront any of the assumptions that undergird its flimsy premise. The thing is like, the premise is strong. Like that's the premise isn't flimsy. The premise is a highly polarized country has boiled over into civil war. That's a good premise. Even the plot is good. It's not flimsy. In fact, it's so strong that it doesn't require him to confront explicitly or theorize explicitly why this war might have happened. As I said, it's just Nick Offerman, basically a despotic ruler. Sorry, in like modern historical times, like that is how civil wars happen. It's like, well, I guess not in the last civil war, but that's how trouble occurs. It's a bad guy gets in power. And this lib thinks you should vote. And that's all you should do.